And welcome back to the History of Fleetwood Mac. I'm Anita. Today we're going to get into volume 15 of my scrapbooks, and we're going to be starting with The Dance. 1997 was kind of a slippery slope for me. I was already a pretty avid collector, and I had what I thought was a decent amount of stuff. But at that time in 1997, while standing in line for tickets to see Fleetwood Mac on the dance tour, I had met a young lady who then introduced me to her group of friends. And I just really fell into the world of knowing everything about Stevie. These people introduced me to the demos, to outtakes, to just, the large world of Stevie Nicks. I thought I had a pretty good collection. I thought I was a pretty big fan, and I certainly was, but I just did not know what all was out there. And the highlight of 1997 would be my good dear friend Dawn, who I do bring up from time to time, and who's been really my ride or die Fleetwood Mac, Stevie, concert person, collection person, even though she's not that much of a collector anymore, but definitely still the person I went to a lot of shows and did a lot of stuff with. You'll see a lot of pictures of Dawn and I at many different adventures. And but it just really became a time where, that person introduced me to, like, hey, you don't just buy one magazine, you don't just buy one, copy of the album or the tour book or whatever, and I know I've talked about that before as well. You want to buy one magazine to keep, one magazine to cut up for the pictures, and just things like that. So 1997 again was a wonderful time, but just really started the peak of I want it all. I really want to get out there and just bulk up the collection. And I was working, somewhat newly married. I've been married for about four years, I guess, 4 or 5 years, and working, and could certainly do it, and had a computer, so I was fully getting into eBay and such, and again, just finding people, finding stuff to buy online, trading, that whole thing. So anyway, without further ado, there's not too much in this video because I just kind of wanted to preface the video with, again, my thoughts on 97 and what it meant to me. And there's a few more stories, but I'll try not to talk too much. I want to start off with something that I just came across, and when I had shown prior things like odds and ends and tour books and stuff like that, I forgot I had this. And I know a lot of people have seen this, but this was a promotional item that was sent to record stores. And, this was definitely from the filming of the PBS special, I want to say. And, with the full marching band and such. This is a really cool little promo thing. And here was the discography of Fleetwood Mac, and then inside here was a little Fleetwood Mac. I think it goes this way. I'm sorry. It's this first page, Fleetwood Mac by the numbers. So, how many times they had, won awards, singles they had, charts on the, numbers on the charts, that kind of stuff. It's really cool with the little watermark picture in the background. So that goes in this way. And then again, the band is, you can kind of see the band behind there. Actually, I think that's coming apart. The original of this item actually has an envelope. There's a white envelope that this goes into, and it's a white envelope, and the Fleetwood Mac, I think, is in purple, and the dance is like in kind of the yellow orange, or vice versa. I know it's dumb, but I'm the kind of person who wants that dumb envelope that this goes into. Just kind of a neat thing. This comes out here with more about the dance. This is kind of a common scene thing, but just in case anybody here hadn't seen it. And then the really cool part about it, the end part, is that this comes out and it's a 3D stand-up of the band. So a really, really awesome promo item, and something I'm glad to have, and something I got around the time. I remember seeing it in the record store and asking somebody for it, and they're like, no. And I just thought, I'm just going to swipe it off the counter. I did not. But I did find it at a bookstore somewhere in Southern California, like maybe in 1998, so not too far after. So I had it pretty close to the time. But and then this is the back of it, showing, again, the most famous picture and the lineup for the video, for the album, for everything. Now, the thing about the the dance session is that there's not a lot of photo sessions. they had the one for the cover, obviously, and they had one for Rolling Stone. But then most of the stuff that's out there is, that gets recycled are the live pictures. This picture here, on the single, everything, on the, was it the landslide single and stuff. So a lot of the stuff that I have is just really lots of like newspaper articles with live shots, which isn't a bad thing. But in, Stevie Nicks from Belladonna and Rumors and Tusk and all that, I have all these outtakes. I have all these, candid moments and stuff like that. And there's just not that much that I've found, from Fleetwood Mac at that time. And this is a little piece that has yet to go into a page. Unfortunately, I got it all wrinkled that way. But this is another photo out from the presidential inauguration. I'm so sorry, my throat today. With my Black Craft coffee mug, but it's mint tea in there. Anyway, so this is the picture that I'm talking about. There's not too many outtakes of that either. There's this one, and then there's a really cool picture of it, which I showed in my CD videos of this without them there, just with the shawl and the cane and the piano and everything like that, which is just a really cool picture in my opinion. But I've never seen like outtakes of this, unless I'm no, I don't think I'm mistaken. And I'm sure this is La Chapelle again, and I'm confident that there's a ton of them, but just something I haven't seen. But this was a really nice article on Fleetwood Mac from Cleveland, and it was really funny because it was test your Fleetwood knack. One of the questions was, I thought that was funny. Stevie Nicks once said to former lover Lindsey Buckingham, A, lose the beard, B, you have a girl's name, C, my songs would just be bad poems if you didn't work on them, or D, we better do a reunion tour, we need the money. And the answer is all the above, which is just really funny, without picking on them too much. So just kind of a little comedic piece. But yeah, this is something, and I really hoped that when I got it on the paper, it would flatten out, but it just unfortunately didn't do that. And newspapers sometimes come like that. That's not usually age. Sometimes just papers just get wrinkled in the pressing and stuff. So it happens. This was a really nice article that came out around that time. Again, I just love this whole little watermark thing. It was Stevie just really focused on her and just her influence and such over time. And, the influence before Stevie. So there was Janis Joplin and then Stevie Nicks. And then, at the time, her and Courtney were kind of hanging out. Courtney Love was in the audience during the dance show. And then in 1998, I want to say it was, Courtney interviewed Stevie for Spin Magazine. And I'm a big Courtney Love fan. I think I mentioned that probably when I talked about the Gold Dust Woman cover. I really like that. And I got to meet her one time. So it was just really cool. It was just really the influence of Stevie Nicks, what with the comeback, if you will, of 1997 of the dance. And this is the remainder of the article, but this also is a really unique photo, very unique press photo from MTV and one of the live shots from the dance. And I have not seen this press photo again. This is just really this kind of stands out with that one from the presidential inauguration as just unique press photos that I have. Now, I don't know if they did one of everybody. I mean, the only press kit that I know of is really kind of that one, just that kind of pop-up. And that's not really, I guess that's kind of a press kit, but maybe they had a press kit proper where there's a picture of Lindsey, Mick, John, Christine, everybody. And then, as everybody knows, and I brought this up time and time again, but just really it's funny to me because we had the success of Rumors in 77. We had the big comeback in 87 with Tango in the Night, but then Stevie left, Lindsey left, Christine left. There's the whole time period. There's the whole, Mick Fleetwood Zoo, Stevie Nicks not doing so great with Street Angel, all the stuff. And then, so, another mark in the sevens was 1997. So 77, 87, 97 to have such a big comeback. And this was 20 years after Rumors or 10 years after Tango in the Night. And it was just a big deal. And everybody's back together. And, as Lindsey would put it, very organic. I think that was the term that he used. So, there was a lot of press, lots of newspaper articles, but just not as many photos as I'd like. I actually have some photos, negatives, but they're just more live shots taken from this video that I've yet to have developed. But I'm going to end it again, kind of make this short. This was a picture out of a CD. I think I had shown you guys again in my CD collection. Kind of towards the end, I want to say this came out in 1998 or so, and it was a interview CD. And this little poster, and I think I even mentioned it because I had one that was sealed and I had one that was open, and I didn't know where the poster was. Well, that's because it was in my scrapbook. So this little poster that came with the CD, and I want to say, I think it's blank on the back. Let me double check here. Yes, it is blank on the back. And then an article from the same time, and this was when Fleetwood Mac was inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I'm kind of jumping all over the place in 97, but it was still in 97, so, right? I'm sure of it. It wasn't 98, right? I'm sure it was 97. Anyway. Yeah, it was 97. I'm going to wrap it up with another thing. Now, this I did get from a record store. That was pretty cool. This is just a really big sign. Has a little stand on the back here. I have it not really glued, but kind of stuck in here on the page to make the page. And this was just a really cool promo item, again with the MTV dates, cover of the album, the names, available on home video, DVD, Laserdisc. It's so crazy. But I just love the whole panoramic view of them with the whole marching band and such out. Oh, there's Stevie. I was like, I see Lindsay. Oh, I see Chris. Where's John now? I guess John's behind Chris right there. Right there. Then Lindsay and Stevie. They're so tiny there. This was out of another page talking about the dance and being inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I'm guessing that caricature is supposed to be Stevie. Not too sure. It was Mamas and Papas, and I figured that's who that is here. I think that's supposed to be Stevie. Spare ticket I had, not a show that I went to. This was cut out of a paper promoting them being inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And then again, this whole special here, about all the acts that got inducted. And again, we have Stevie right here. So that is the beginning of the dance, part one of the dance. There's not that much. There just really isn't that much. And again, so much of it is newspaper articles. There's some pictures and such, but the dance is going to go pretty quickly. I did notice in looking through, and believe it or not, I started this scrapbook stuff in 97, like I told you guys. I really picked it up and stuff. But all the volumes that I've had in the past are just how big. I mean, how many videos have I gotten out of them? But I'm really surprised at how sparse I have 97. 98, okay. 2001, a little better. I have a lot of stuff from there, but as far as articles and photos and stuff like that, it's just kind of funny to me. But I think 98 will do pretty good on. I have some great surprises. And 2001, but I was going through all the 97, and I thought, that's just so weird. I just don't have that much. So I think we'll be able to make the dance in about 2 more episodes. So hope you enjoyed tonight. Thank you for listening to me, and we'll see you next time. Bye.